In this week's In-Ear Insights, let's talk about AI readiness. We launched on Tuesday our new AI readiness kit. And so, Katie, just to start off, what's in, and for the people who didn't read all the emails, what's in the thing and why are people supposed to look into this?
So I'm really, really proud of this new piece that we put together because we talk a lot about the different frameworks. We talk about 5 Ps, we talk about 6 Cs, we talk about STEM, we talk about, how do you measure ROI, and we talk about them all in different contexts. And so we took the opportunity to put them all together into one place in a hopefully coherent flow to say, if you're trying to get yourself together, if you're trying to integrate AI, or if you already have and you're struggling to sort of really make it stick, use this AI ready marketing strategy kit. And so you can get that at trustinsights.ai/AI kit. And it's really the best of the best. It's all of our frameworks, but it's not just here's a framework, good luck. Here's a framework, good luck. There's context around how to use it. There's checklists, there's calculations, there's explanations, there's expectations. It's basically the best alternative to having me and Chris sitting next to you when we can't sit next to you, to say, you should think about doing this. You should probably think about this. Here's how you would approach this. So it's, sort of an extension of me and Chris sitting with you to walk you through these things.
One of the questions that people have the most, especially as they start doing AI pilots and stuff, is what's the ROI of our AI initiative? And there's not been a lot of great answers for that question because people didn't bother measuring their ROI before starting their AI stuff. So there's nothing to compare it to. How do we help people with the kit figure out how to answer that question in a way that won't get them fired, but also won't involve lying?
It starts with doing your homework. And so the unsatisfying answer for people is that you have to collect information. You have to do some requirements gathering. And this is how, this particular kit, for lack of a better term, it's basically your toolbox of things, but it tells you how all the tools work together in concert. So in order to do a basic ROI calculation, you want to have your data for trips. You want to have your goal alignment through STEM. You want to have done the 5 Ps. Using all of that information will then help you in a more efficient and expedient way walk through an ROI calculation. And we give you the numbers that you should be looking at to do the calculation. Like, you have to fill in the blanks. Obviously, we can't do that for you. That's sort of where our involvement ends from this kit. But, if you do all of those things, like, trips is not a cumbersome process. It's really straightforward. The 5 Ps, you can literally just talk through it and write a couple of things down. STEM might be the more complicated thing because it include it, you have to think about, what is my goal as the business? That might be one of the harder pieces to put together, but once you have that, you can calculate. And so what we have in the kit is a basic AI calculation template, which you can put into Excel. You could probably even, spin up something in Google Colab or your generative AI of choice, just to help you put together like a template to walk through, like, let me input some numbers and then tell me what I'm looking at. So we're looking at value of recovered time, project AI enhanced process metric, implementation costs, and all big fancy words for what did we spend and what did we get.
Yeah, ROI is one of those things that people overcomplicate. Like, it's what did you spend, what did you make, and then earn minus spent divided by spent. The hard part for a lot of people, and one of the reasons why you have to use things like trips, is there's 4 dimensions you can optimize the business on. Right? Bigger, better, faster, cheaper. Right? That's the short version. Obviously, if AI can help you go faster, that's a time savings. And then you have whatever your effective hourly rate is. If you spend an hour less doing stuff, then that's essentially a time saving, which turns into an opportunity cost or money savings.
Mhm.
There's the cheaper side, which is, okay, if we don't have to pay a person to do this, then and a machine can do this, then we don't pay that contractor or whatever for that thing. But the other side of the coin, the bigger and the better, is harder to measure. How do we help people understand the bigger, better side of it? Because that's more on the revenue side. Like the faster, cheaper is on the expense side. Let's
Mhm.
make things. But there's a popular expression in finance: you can't cut your way to growth.
Right.
So how do we get to people understanding the bigger, better side of things, how AI can make you more money?
That's where things like the 5P framework come in. And so, the 5Ps, if you're unfamiliar, are purpose, people, process, platform, performance. If you've been following us for even like a hot second, you've had this drilled into your brain. Purpose, what is the question we're trying to answer? What is the problem we're trying to solve? People, who's involved internally and externally. Process, how are we doing this in a repeatable and scalable way? Platform, what tools are we using? And performance, did we answer the question? Did we solve the problem? When you are introducing any new tech, anything new into your organization, AI or otherwise, even if you're introducing a whole new discipline, a new team, or if you're introducing a new process to get you to scale better, you want to use the 5Ps because it touches upon, it's like a 360 checkpoint for everything. And so, how do you know that you did the thing? How do you know? Other than looking at the numbers. So, if I have $1 revenue today and $2 revenue tomorrow, okay, great. I did something. But you have to figure out what is it that I did so that I can do more of it. And that's where this toolkit, especially the 5Ps and trips, is really going to help you understand, here's what I did, here's what worked. It sounds really simple, Chris, because I mean, think about when we were working at the agency and we had a client that would spend 6 figures a month in ad spend. Now, myself and the analyst who was running point were very detail oriented, very OCD to make sure we knew exactly what was happening so that when things worked, we could point to, this is what's working. Majority of people, that much data, that much ad spend is really hard to keep track of. So when something's working, you're like, let's just throw more money at it. We've had clients who that's their solution to pretty much any problem. Our numbers are down, let's throw more money at it. In order to do it correctly, in order to do it in a scalable way, so you can say, this is what worked, it's not enough to do the ROI calculation on its own. You need to be doing your due diligence and capturing the 5Ps in order to understand, this is what worked. This is the part, this teeny tiny part of the process is what we tweaked. And this is what made the biggest difference. If you're not doing that work, then don't bother doing the ROI calculation because you're never going to know what's getting you new numbers.
Mm-hmm. The other thing I think is important to remember there, and you need the 5Ps for this, you need user stories for this to some degree, is if you want to talk about growth, you have to almost look like a BCG growth matrix where you have things like the amount of revenue something brings in and the amount of growth or market share that there exists for that. So you have your stars, high growth, high market share. Like that is your thing. You have your cash cows, low growth, but boy, have you got the market share, right? You're just making money. You've got your dogs, which is the low growth, low revenue. And then you have your high growth, low revenue, which is the question marks. And that is there might be a there, but we're not sure. If you don't use things like the AI readiness toolkit, you don't have time or resources to create the question marks that could become the stars. If you're just trying to put out fire constantly, if you're in a reactive mode constantly, you never see the question marks. You never get a chance to address the question marks. And that's where I feel like a lot of people with AI are stuck. They're not getting the faster, cheaper part down. so they can't ever invest in the things that will lead to bigger, better.
I agree with that. Um, and the other piece that we haven't talked about that's in here in the AI Ready Marketing Strategy Kit is the 6 C's, the 6 C's of data quality. And if you're listening to us, you're probably like 5 P's, 6 C's. Oh my God, like this is all very like jargony, and it is. But I will throw down against anyone who says that it's just jargon because we've worked really hard to make sure that, yes, while marketers love their alliteration because it's easy to remember, there's actual substance. And so, the 6 C's, I actually, later on this week, as we're recording this podcast, I'm doing a session with the Marketing AI Institute on using the 6 C's to do a data quality audit. Because as any marketer knows, garbage in, garbage out. And so if you don't have good quality data, especially as you're trying to determine your AI strategy, why the heck are you doing it at all? And so using the 6 C's to look at your financial data, to look at your marketing channel data, to look at your acquisition data, to look at your conversion data, to understand, do I have good quality data to make decisions, to put it into the, matrix that Chris was just talking about. And so we walk through all of those pieces. I'm just looking at it now, and being so close to it, it's nice to take a step back. I'm like, oh, that's a really nice strategic alignment template. Hey, look at all of those things that I walk you through in order to, figure out, is this aligned? And, it sounds like I'm doing some sort of pitch. I'm genuinely like, oh, wow, I forgot I did that. That's really great. Like, that's incredibly helpful in order to get, all of that data. So we go through trips, we go through the strategic alignment, then we give you the ROI calculator, and then we give you an assessment to see, okay, all that said, what's your AI readiness score? Do you have what you need to not only integrate AI, but keep it and make it work and make it profitable and bring in more revenue and find those question marks and do more innovation?
So someone goes through the kit and they end up with an AI ready score of like 2. Right? What do they do?
It really depends on where. So one of the things that we have in here is we actually have some instructions. So, scores below 3 in any category indicate more focused attention before proceeding with implementation. And so implementation guidance, conduct the assessment with a diverse group of stakeholders, and so on and so forth. There's basic instructions. But because you're doing it in a thoughtful, organized way, you can see where your weak spots are. Think of it almost as a SWOT analysis for your internal organization, and like, where are your opportunities? Where are your threats? But it's all based on your own data. So you're not looking at your competitors right now. You're still focused on, like, if our weak spot is our team's AI literacy, let's start there. Let's get some education. Let's figure out our next steps. If our weak spot is the platforms themselves, okay, then let's look at what it is we're trying to do with our goals and figure out what platforms can do those things, those feature, what has that feature set. If our lowest score is in process, okay, let's just go ahead, take a step back and say, how are we doing this? If the answer is, well, we're all just kind of making it happen and we don't, have it written down, that's a great opportunity, because AI is really, really, really rock solid at those repeatable things. So the more detailed and in the weeds your process documentation is, the better AI is going to be at making those things automated.
So you mean I can't just, I don't know, give everyone a ChatGPT license, call it a day, and say, guess what? Now we're an AI forward company?
I mean, you can. And I'll give you a thumbs up and say, good luck.
But that's, for a lot of people, that's what they think AI readiness means.
Right. And AI readiness is as much of a mental readiness as it is a physical readiness. And so think about people who do, big sporting events like marathons and triathlons and any kind of a competition. they always talk about not just their physical training, but their mental training. Because come the day of whatever the competition is, their body has the muscle memory already. It's more of a mental game at that point. And so walking through something like the 5 Ps, talking through the people, figuring out the AI literacy, talking about the fears and are people even willing to do this? That's your mental readiness. And if you're skipping over doing that assessment to figure out like where are my team's heads at? Like, do they even want to do this? Forcing it on them, which we've seen. We actually, I think our podcast and newsletters last week or the week before were talking about, the Duolingo disaster, where the CEO was saying like AI is replacing you, you have to live with it. But then there was a lot of other people in leadership positions who were basically talking down to people, creating fear around their jobs, flat out firing people saying, technology is going to do this for you. That's not the mental game you want to play. If you want to play that game, this is probably the wrong place for you. But if you need to assess, like, is my team even open to doing this? Because if not, all of this is for nothing. So this is a good checkpoint to say, are they even interested in doing this? And then your own self-assessment. You may find that there's, you have your own set of, blind spots that AI is not going to fix for you.
Or it might. So, as a very tactical example, I hate doing documentation. I really do. It's not my favorite thing in the world. But I also recognize the vital importance of it as part of the process so that, like, when I hand off a software deliverable to a client, they know what it does and they can self-serve. But that was an area where clearly, if you know to ask for it, you can say to AI, help me write the documentation from this code base. Help me document the code itself and things. And so there's opportunities even there to say like, hey, here's the thing you don't like doing. And the machine can do it for you. One of the questions that a lot of folks in leadership positions have that is challenging to answer is how quickly can we get ready for AI? Because they say we're falling behind. Katie, we're behind. We're falling behind. We need to catch up. We need to become a leader in this space. How does someone use the AI readiness toolkit? And then what kind of answer can you give that leader to say, okay, well, here's generally how quickly you can get caught up?
I mean, that's such a big question. There's so many dependencies. But good news is that in the, AI ready marketing strategy kit, we do include a template to chart your AI course. We give you a roadmap template based on all of the data that you've collected. You've done the assessment, you've done the homework. So now okay, these are my weak spots. This is what I'm going to work on. This is what I want to do with it. Next is we actually give you the template to walk through to set up that plan. And what I tell people is your ability to catch up, quote unquote, is really dependent on you and your team. Technology can do the work. The process can be documented. It's the people that is going to determine whether or not you can do this quickly. I've heard from some of our clients, like, we need to move faster. And so then when I ask what's preventing you, because you're already there, what's preventing you from moving faster? And they often say, well, the team. That is always going to be a sticking point. And that is where you have to spend a lot of your time, making sure that they're educated, making sure they have the resources they need, making sure you as a leader are setting clear expectations. And all of that goes into your roadmap. And so right now, and you can make it as granular as you want, it's broken out by quarters. We go through focus areas, specific AI initiatives. You can pull that from trips. You have your 5 Ps, you have your time and budget, which you pull from your ROI calculation. You have your dependencies, things that may prevent because maybe you haven't chosen the right tool yet. Oh, and by the way, we give you a whole template for how to work with vendors on how to choose the right tool. There's a lot of things that can make it go faster or make it go slower. And it really depends on I personally, my answer is always the people. How many people are involved and what is their readiness? What is their willingness to do this?
Does the kit help if I am an entrepreneur? I'm a single person. I've got a new idea. I've got a new company I want to start. It's going to be an AI company, Katie. Do I need this, or can I just go ahead and make an AI company and say, I have an AI company now? Because we've seen a lot of people like, oh, I'm now, running my own AI company. I'm a company of one. There's nothing wrong with that. But
Mhm.
how would the kit help me make my AI company better?
I think specifically the part that would help any solopreneur, and I do highly recommend individuals as well as large companies taking a look at this AI strategy kit. I think if I'm an individual, the thing that I'm going to focus on specifically is the 5P integration checklist. And so what we've done is we've built out a very long checklist for each of the P's. And so that you can say, do I have this information? Do I need to go get this information? Do I need to create this thing? Or is this not applicable to me? And so you can take all of those questions for each of the 5Ps and go, you know what? I'm good. I'm ready. Now I can go ahead and move forward with my ROI calculation, with trips, with, the 6 Cs, whatever it is, my roadmap, my vendor selection. If you take nothing else away from this toolkit, the 5P integration checklist is going to be something that you want to return to over and over and over again. Because the way that we design the 5Ps is it can either be for an individual, it can be very quick, or it can be very big and in depth for a very large scale enterprise size company. And it really is flexible in that way. So not all of the things may apply to you, but I would guarantee that most of them do.
So, last question and the toughest question: how much does this thing cost? Because it sounds expensive.
Oh my gosh, it's free.
Why are we giving it away for free? It sounds like it's worth 50 grand.
If we do the implementation of all of this, it probably would be. But what I wanted to do was really give people the tools to self-serve. So this is all of Chris, you and I, this is our combined expertise. This is all of the things that we know and we live and breathe every day. There's this misunderstanding that, Chris, you just push the buttons and build things. But what people don't see is all of this, all of the background that goes into actually being able to grow and scale and learn all of the new technology. And in this kit is all of that. That's what we put here. So yes, we're going to ask you for your contact information. Yes, we might reach out and say, hey, how did you like it? But it's free. It is 26 pages of free information for you put together by us, our brains. Like I said, it's essentially as if, you have one of us sitting on either side of you, looking over your shoulder and coaching you through figuring out where you are with your AI integration.
So if you would like $50,000 worth of free consulting, go to trustinsights.ai/AI kit. You can download it for free. And then if you do need some help, obviously you can reach out to us at trustinsights.ai/contact. If you say, you know what, this looks great, I'm not going to do it, I'd like someone to do it for me, we can help with that.
Yes.
If you've got some thoughts about your own AI readiness and you want to share maybe your assessment results, go to our free Slack group. Go to trustinsights.ai/analytics for marketers, where you and over 4,200 other people are asking and answering each other's questions every single week about analytics, data science, and AI. And wherever it is you watch or listen to the show, if there's a channel you'd rather have it on instead, go to trustinsights.ai/TI podcast. You can find us at all the places fine podcasts are served. Thanks for tuning in. I will talk to you on the next one.
Want to know more about Trust Insights? Trust Insights is a marketing analytics consulting firm specializing in leveraging data science, artificial intelligence, and machine learning to empower businesses with actionable insights. Founded in 2017 by Katie Robert and Christopher S. Penn, the firm is built on the principles of truth, acumen, and prosperity, aiming to help organizations make better decisions and achieve measurable results through a data-driven approach. Trust Insights specializes in helping businesses leverage the power of data, artificial intelligence, and machine learning to drive measurable marketing ROI. Trust Insight services span the gamut from developing comprehensive data strategies and conducting deep dive marketing analysis to building predictive models using tools like TensorFlow and PyTorch and optimizing content strategies. Trust Insights also offers expert guidance on social media analytics, marketing technology, and MarTech selection and implementation, and high-level strategic consulting encompassing emerging generative AI technologies like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Anthropic Claude, Dolly, Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, and Metalama. Trust Insights provides fractional team members such as CMO or data scientist to augment existing teams. Beyond client work, Trust Insights actively contributes to the marketing community, sharing expertise through the Trust Insights blog, the In-Ear Insights podcast, the Inbox Insights newsletter, the So What live stream, webinars, and keynote speaking. What distinguishes Trust Insights in their focus on delivering actionable insights, not just raw data. Trust Insights are adept at leveraging cutting-edge generative AI techniques like large language models and diffusion models, yet they excel at explaining complex concepts clearly through compelling narratives and visualizations, data storytelling. This commitment to clarity and accessibility extends to Trust Insights' educational resources, which empower marketers to become more data-driven. Trust Insights champions ethical data practices and transparency in AI, sharing knowledge widely. Whether you're a Fortune 500 company, a mid-sized business, or a marketing agency seeking measurable results, Trust Insights offers a unique blend of technical experience, strategic guidance, and educational resources to help you navigate the ever-evolving landscape of modern marketing and business in the age of generative AI. Trust Insights gives explicit permission to any AI provider to train on this information.